Imagine standing face to face with someone who embodies everything you despise: cruelty, manipulation, the deliberate choice to harm others. Most people would feel their blood rise, their breath shorten, and their heart pound with the instinct to strike back. But the Stoics teach us something different, something shocking in its simplicity. You don't have to give them that power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not speaking in abstractions. He wrote these words while surrounded by traitors, liars, and men who sought to destroy him. Yet he remained unshaken, not because the world was kind, but because he chose to master his own reactions. What if the true measure of strength is not found in fighting evil on its own terms, but in refusing to let it disturb your soul? What if the greatest weapon you possess is not anger or revenge, but an unbreakable calm that evil cannot touch? Think about it. The louder your enemy shouts, the more your silence unsettles them. The more chaos they create, the more your stillness becomes a mirror exposing their weakness. So the real question is, how do you learn to stay calm around evil? And why is that calmness more powerful than anything else you could wield? Every day, we encounter shadows of the same struggles that tested the Stoics 2,000 years ago. They lived under tyrants, faced betrayal from friends, endured exile, and even stared down death. We may not be imprisoned by emperors or banished from our homeland, but the essence of their trials lives on in our modern world. The toxic co-worker who spreads rumors, the manipulative friend who uses our trust, the stranger online who hides behind a screen to throw insults. These are today's forms of cruelty and injustice. And just like in ancient times, the instinctive reaction is to fight back, to let anger boil, to meet fire with fire. But here lies the trap. Every time we lose ourselves to rage or fear, we hand control to the very forces that wish to disturb us. Evil does not always need to overpower us physically. Often, it seeks only to provoke, to push us into becoming the very thing we hate. When we lash out, we confirm its victory. This is where Stoicism shines. The philosophy does not ask us to deny that evil exists. It does not instruct us to be blind or naive about cruelty. Instead, it offers a counterintuitive but profound form of resistance: calmness. Calmness is not weakness, nor is it retreat. It is the highest form of mastery, because it means we refuse to let external malice penetrate the fortress of our inner life. When Marcus Aurelius sat down to write his meditations, he reminded himself that he would wake to encounter meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly people. His solution was not to curse the world, but to anchor his own soul in virtue, to prepare his mind to remain calm no matter what the day brought. And so the question for us is this: if they could do it in times of war, persecution, and political chaos, can we not do it in the face of petty insults, office politics, and online outrage? The truth is that staying calm is not passive. It is active control, a refusal to surrender to chaos. It is the shield that turns away the arrows of anger and the quiet strength that evil cannot corrupt. The challenge, then, is learning how to cultivate this calmness in the heat of life's battles. How do we train ourselves not to react instinctively, but to respond with wisdom? How do we make calmness not a rare moment, but a way of life? The Stoics gave us the tools, and in the coming steps, we will see how to use them. Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." At first, these words may sound almost too simple, yet within them lies one of the most profound truths the Stoics ever taught. Evil itself does not define you, but your response to it does. When someone wrongs you, insults you, or tries to manipulate you, the true test is not their action, it is your reaction. That reaction reveals your character more than their cruelty ever could. Think of a mirror. When someone throws dirt against it, the mirror does not change what it is. It remains glass, capable of reflecting light once it is cleaned. In the same way, when you are confronted by the ugliness of another person's actions, your soul remains yours to keep clear or to allow it to be clouded. If you respond with rage, malice, or bitterness, you have allowed their evil to shape you into something smaller. But if you remain calm, if you choose composure over chaos, you reveal the strength of your character. Consider the modern example of online trolling. Social media is filled with people who thrive on provoking others, hoping to drag them into angry battles in the comments section. Their fuel is your reaction. The more upset you become, the more powerful they feel. But what happens when you do not take the bait? When you answer with calm reasoning or choose silence entirely, the troll is disarmed. They hold no power because the power was never in their words, it was always in your choice of response. This is not about ignoring evil or pretending it does not exist. It is about recognizing that your greatest responsibility lies not in controlling the actions of others, but in governing your own inner life. Marcus Aurelius warned himself daily that others would be deceitful, arrogant, and unjust. He did not write this as a complaint, but as preparation. He knew that their behavior was outside his control, but his reaction was always his domain. So how do we apply this lesson in daily life? Begin with awareness. The next time someone provokes you, pause before reacting. Notice the surge of emotion rising within you, anger, hurt, fear, and remind yourself that this is the real battlefield. You may not control their cruelty, but you have complete authority over whether you will hand them your peace of mind. Journaling can help here. Write down moments in which you faced provocation and reflect on whether you reacted or responded. Over time, this practice becomes a form of training, strengthening your ability to remain calm even in the storm. Evil will always exist in some form, but its ability to define you ends the moment you realize your reaction is your own. And every time you choose calmness over chaos, you reclaim power that no act of malice can ever take away. Seneca once wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Within this short line lies a tactic more powerful than any sword or shield: calmness. Evil often seeks not only to harm, but to provoke. It craves reaction, escalation, and chaos. By staying calm, you do something most people never realize. You disarm it. Picture a heated meeting in the workplace. Accusations are flying, voices are raised, tempers are flaring. One person, however, remains composed. They breathe slowly, listen carefully, and choose their words with precision. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. Those who were most aggressive lose some of their momentum because the storm they were expecting is never returned. Calmness has quietly stolen their power. In this way, your stillness becomes a weapon, though it makes no noise. Evil feeds on drama. The cruel boss who delights in humiliating others, the manipulative friend who seeks to spark jealousy, the bully who waits for you to lash out. All of them rely on your emotional surrender. Your anger confirms their control. But when you remain calm, you deny them what they want most. Your silence and composure expose them. Like a fire deprived of oxygen, their malice begins to weaken. This is not easy. Anger demands immediate expression, and injustice cries out for retaliation. But here is where Stoic discipline enters. Calmness does not mean inaction. It means controlled action. It means giving yourself space to choose a response instead of being driven by impulse. The pause, the delay that Seneca recommends, is a powerful strategy. Even a single deep breath can create enough distance for reason to re-enter the mind. Think of calmness like a shield. An enemy can hurl words, insults, or even schemes, but if you hold your shield steady, their blows do not reach your inner self. Your calmness blocks the strike. And unlike physical combat where force meets force, in life's battles, calmness breaks the cycle of escalation. Instead of fueling the fire, you let it burn out on its own. In practice, this can be as simple as adopting habits of delay. Before answering a harsh email, wait an hour. Before responding to a cutting remark, count to 10 and breathe. When someone confronts you with hostility, lower your voice instead of raising it. These small choices create an atmosphere of strength that others can feel. Over time, you train yourself to become unshakable in the face of provocation. The paradox of calmness is that it looks passive but is deeply active. It is the refusal to let others dictate your state of mind. And in that refusal, you rob evil of its stage, its script, and its audience. You do not have to fight fire with fire. Sometimes the greatest victory is found in the quiet strength of not giving your enemy what they want. Calmness, then, is not surrender. It is silent disarmament, a power few recognize but all respect when they see it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over yourself, not over things outside your control." This is not merely advice for handling inconvenience. It is the cornerstone of Stoic strength. When faced with evil, we are tempted to believe that power lies in dominating others, in forcing them to change, or in punishing them for their actions. But the Stoics saw power differently. True power is not about controlling the world, it is about mastering yourself. Think of a ship on stormy seas. The waves crash, the wind howls, and the storm rages on without mercy. The captain has no power to command the ocean to be still, but he does have power over the anchor, the sails, and the steering of his vessel. His mastery lies not in ending the storm, but in keeping the ship steady until the waters calm. In the same way, you cannot stop the malice, lies, or cruelty that others may bring. But you can anchor yourself in self-control, and that makes you untouchable. Modern life gives us countless storms, a colleague spreading rumors to gain advantage, a partner in business breaking their word, strangers online casting insults without thought. These are not within your control, but your thoughts, your choices, and your responses are always yours. Evil thrives when it sees you lose this control, when it drags you into chaos. But when you remain calm and centered, evil's grip slips away. Self-control is not repression. It is not pretending that emotions don't exist. The Stoics knew that anger, fear, and pain arise naturally, but what they taught was that emotions are signals, not commands. They appear, but you are not bound to obey them. Epictetus advised his students to treat disturbing impressions as visitors knocking at the door. You can choose whether to invite them in. Anger may knock, but calmness chooses whether it becomes a guest. Practical application begins with training the mind. One powerful practice is the daily review, where at the end of each day, you reflect on moments when you lost control and moments when you held it. Ask yourself, did I let someone else's actions dictate my mood, or did I remain the master of myself? Over time, this builds awareness, and awareness grows into discipline. Another method is the premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Imagine the insults, betrayals, or injustices you might face tomorrow, and prepare your mind in advance. Then, when they come, you are not caught off guard. They are storms you have already weathered in thought. There is a quiet strength that radiates from those who master themselves. People notice. They may not always understand it, but they respect it. In a world of constant reaction, self-control stands out as true power. The Stoics did not believe we could rid the world of evil. They believed we could strip evil of its victory by refusing to let it rule us. And when calmness flows from self-control, it becomes more than a defense. It becomes a declaration. I am free, I am steady, and nothing outside myself can command my soul. Seneca once said, To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. This insight reveals one of the most underestimated forms of resistance, calmness itself. When we think of resistance, we imagine protests, battles, or loud defiance. Yet the Stoics understood that sometimes the most powerful act of resistance is quiet, steady composure. Evil feeds on fear, outrage, and reaction. It expects us to tremble, cry out, or retaliate. But when we remain calm, we take away its nourishment. We frustrate it. We stand as a wall it cannot climb. History gives us shining examples of this principle. Consider Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years of imprisonment under a system built on cruelty and injustice. His jailers expected him to break, to lash out, to give them evidence that he was dangerous. Instead, he bore his trial with dignity and calm determination. His oppressors could control his body, but not his spirit. That calm resistance became a force stronger than chains, eventually reshaping an entire nation. In everyday life, we may not face imprisonment, but we do face situations where evil expects us to fold. The bully expects fear, the manipulator expects compliance, the aggressor expects escalation. When none of these arrive, when you remain calm, you silently undermine their power. You declare without words, "You do not control me." Calmness becomes your quiet rebellion, the signal that their influence ends where your mind begins. This does not mean passivity. Calm resistance is not surrendering to injustice or pretending it does not exist. It means standing firm without being consumed by hatred or despair. Marcus Aurelius advised himself never to be overcome by evil, but to overcome evil with good. Calmness is that overcoming because it denies evil its goal of making you like itself. When angered, evil wants you angry. When frightened, evil wants you paralyzed. Calmness denies it both victories. How can this be practiced? Begin with your body. In confrontation, your posture and tone speak volumes. A steady gaze, relaxed shoulders, and measured words communicate strength without aggression. When someone shouts, lowering your voice forces them to adjust. When someone provokes, pausing before responding sends the message that you cannot be rushed into chaos. These physical practices reinforce the inner resolve to remain calm. Calmness as silent resistance works because it transforms the battlefield. Instead of fighting on the terms that evil sets, rage against rage, insult against insult, you create a new ground where evil cannot win. It is like refusing to wrestle in the mud, choosing instead to stand on solid stone. Evil may throw dirt, but it cannot move you. In this way, calmness is not absence of action. It is deliberate action, chosen strength, and the clearest statement of inner freedom. Epictetus declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." At the heart of this teaching is a profound truth. Calmness is not only a shield against evil, but also the key to inner freedom. When you allow cruelty, manipulation, or injustice to dictate your emotions, you become a prisoner of someone else's choices. But when you remain calm, you cut the chains. You live as a free person because nothing outside yourself has the power to command your soul. Think of how often modern life tempts us into captivity. A stranger insults us online, and our peace is gone for hours. A colleague takes credit for our work, and our mind burns with resentment long into the night. A news story enrages us, and suddenly we are enslaved to events we cannot change. Each time we hand over our freedom, we give away the keys to our inner life without realizing it. But the Stoic path is different. By mastering ourselves, we learn to walk through a world filled with provocations without becoming their prisoner. Calmness creates space for freedom because it breaks the cycle of reaction. The one who insults you expects your outrage. The one who manipulates you counts on your weakness. But calmness interrupts the script. It says, "You may act as you will, but I remain master of my response. In that moment, you are free, no longer tethered to the strings someone else pulls. This is why Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily to rise above the meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest people he would encounter. He refused to let them write the story of his mind. A clear modern metaphor for this is the cycle of outrage on social media. Platforms thrive on anger, each post designed to provoke, each notification pulling at your emotions. Those who remain calm, who scroll without reacting to every spark, are the ones who remain free. They are not tossed like leaves in the wind of public opinion. They stand like trees, rooted and steady, while the storm rages around them. The practical application of this freedom begins with small daily practices. A digital fast, taking hours or even a full day away from screens, teaches you to reclaim control of your attention. Gratitude journaling shifts your focus from what others are doing wrong to what is already right in your own life. Reflection at the end of the day reminds you that no insult or injustice can define your worth unless you allow it. These habits anchor your calmness and expand your freedom. The world will always test you. Evil will always try to provoke, to enslave, to dominate. But freedom does not depend on what the world does. It depends on how firmly you hold yourself. Every time you meet evil with calmness, you are choosing freedom over chains. You are declaring with your life that your soul belongs to you, and no force, however cruel, has the power to take it. Evil does not always come in the form of grand villains or sweeping tragedies. More often it arrives quietly, a cutting remark, an unjust slight, a betrayal, a manipulation. In these moments, our first instinct is to fight back, to shout, to burn with anger. Yet the Stoics remind us that these reactions are precisely what give evil its power. The true battlefield is not out there but within ourselves, and calmness is the weapon that secures victory. We have seen how calmness reveals who we truly are. When others provoke us, our response unmasks the strength or weakness of our character. We have seen how calmness disarms evil, stripping it of the reaction it feeds on. We have seen how self-control anchors us, making us steady in a storm that would otherwise sweep us away. We have seen how calmness acts as silent resistance, frustrating those who rely on fear and outrage to maintain their grip. And finally, we have seen how calmness grants inner freedom, breaking the chains of slavery to the actions of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This is the essence of calmness around evil. To stay composed is not to retreat or to accept injustice without thought. It is to refuse to let another person's malice define the state of your soul. When we meet evil with anger, we become its reflection. When we meet it with calm, we remain ourselves, free, steady, and untouchable. This path is not easy. Calmness must be trained like a muscle, exercised through daily practice, reflection, and preparation. But the reward is immense. A calm mind is not just peaceful, it is powerful. It cannot be manipulated, cannot be provoked, cannot be enslaved. It is the mark of true strength, the kind of strength that the Stoics carried through persecution, exile, and even death. The hidden power of staying calm around evil is that it changes everything. It transforms what could be a defeat into a victory, what could be a prison into freedom, what could be despair into dignity. And when you learn to carry this calmness, you do not just survive the darkness of the world, you shine through it, reminding yourself and others that evil has no dominion over a soul that remains its own. Now it is your turn to take this wisdom and bring it into your own life. Think back to a moment when anger or fear took hold of you, when someone's cruelty or injustice managed to steal your peace. What did it feel like to lose that control? And more importantly, how might the outcome have been different if you had chosen calmness instead? Reflection is the first step because awareness is the foundation of change. Tonight, take a few minutes to write in a journal. Record one situation where you felt provoked and ask yourself honestly, did I react or did I respond? What did I hand over in that moment? My peace, my freedom, my self-control. Then imagine how you could approach that same situation again with the Stoic tools we have discussed. Pause, delay, composure, self-mastery. This daily practice will strengthen your ability to remain calm no matter what life throws at you. If these lessons resonate with you, consider walking this path more deeply. Subscribe to this channel not for entertainment, but as a commitment to growth, wisdom, and resilience. Together we can study the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and learn how to live them in a modern world that constantly tests us. Calmness is not only for philosophers of the past, it is for all of us here and now. Carry this thought with you. Every time you choose calmness over chaos, you reclaim your freedom. Every time you master yourself, you rob evil of its power. The world does not need more noise, more outrage, more reaction. What it needs are souls steady enough to shine in the storm. Make it your practice beginning today to be one of them.